I think 99% of you will agree with me that episode 50 was the best episode of the Digimon Adventure 2020 reboot so far. This episode was a treat for all Takeru and Hikari fans, even though the episode had to include everyone cheering for Taichi as usual. There is one reason that motivated me to do this video, and it's one thing that means a lot to me as a Patamon fan. You might not all agree with me, but I have always preferred Goddramon as Patamon's ultimate form. There were a lot of rumors among fans that since Tailmon can evolve to HolyDramon instead of Ophanimon, the same thing applies for Patamon and Goddramon. Also, I remember reading somewhere that there was a certain picture book that is now out of print that showed Goddramon as the only ultimate form of Patamon. Since Goddramon was introduced before Seraphimon, I always wondered if the creators originally intended this to be Patamon's ultimate form but changed their minds. I was looking forward for an official confirmation for all of this in the anime, and it finally happened. I know there are a lot of you Seraphimon fans and how loyal you are to Patamon's humanoid ultimate form. For me, Seraphimon's design always seemed a bit stiff. It doesn't do justice to the previous forms, which are a 10 out of 10. I understand if you feel that Seraphimon works better as an evolution from Holy Angemon, which makes sense. This is the reason I was wondering if the evolution from Holy Angemon to Goddramon would look awkward, but to my surprise, they did a good job with this transformation. Not just with the evolution, but with the entire episode. You see, a lot of times the profiles of Digimon state that they can shake the earth and shoot energy blasts with the power of nuclear bombs, but when the time comes to fight, they are tossed around by the likes of Numemon. I understand that not every version of a Digimon can contain the same power, but there's not a lot of Goddramons and HolyDramons out there, so having them possess less power seems anticlimactic. As usual, the action in this anime was good, and that's never a problem, but it is how you get to the action that sometimes feels off. This time it really felt like evil is born and it poses a great threat. Goddramon and HolyDramon managed to defeat Millenniumon until, of course, in true Digimon fashion, the evil returns in another form. This episode also marked the first appearance of not only Millenniumon but also his evolved form ZeedMillenniumon. If you are a long-term Digimon fan, you probably know that this Digimon stands as one of the strongest Digimon in existence. Judging by the fear on Taichi's face in this episode, he seemed to agree. Nothing is perfect, which applies to this episode as well. Power and attack wise, it really stood its ground. Animation wise, the episode did not improve the faulty style at all. In some scenes, it was even worse than what we are used to now. When I say this, I am mostly referring to HolyDramon's animation. HolyDramon already appeared twice before in the original Adventure storyline, and in both of these cases, the animation and design didn't look appealing. No wonder HolyDramon gets so much hate online when it is never represented the way it deserves. Card designs and gaming footage of HolyDramon are very good. In the anime though, they never made the design stand out. That was a big issue I had with this episode. I actually think that this was the second worst HolyDramon animation so far, especially with the lower body and the weirdly small head. Even though done a bit better, Goddramon also suffered from bad animation in this episode. Also, a lot of animation was done by panning the screen over a drawing with the Digimon not moving at all. No matter how ecstatic you were to see these Digimon appear in the anime, you still had to notice these things. Another thing I thought was done poorly was ZeedMillenniumon's defeat. Many would argue that Wargreymon was powered up when the entire digital world woke up and managed to defeat him only because Goddramon and HolyDramon made it easy for him. They are, after all, the holy Digimon of the series, and variants of these two Digimon are members of the Four Great Dragons, which are two titles one should not take lightly in this franchise. Still, ZeedMillenniumon gets 5 minutes of screen time. This episode marks the end of a chapter and the beginning of a new one. We still have to see the story behind the crests and the rest of the ultimate forms of the other chosen Digimon. Don't worry, Seraphimon and Ophanimon fans, there are still more episodes in which they can show up, as this episode could be seen as just a special occasion. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please consider supporting me on Patreon. The link is in the description below. Stay tuned for more Digimon videos. PS, make sure to follow my community page on YouTube, as I also post updates about upcoming videos there.